South Asia has got more than one-fifth of the world's population. And also, unfortunate, 49% of the illiterates are in South Asia. So definitely the SDG 4 is definitely a major challenge, for this part of the world. And also the SARC framework for action, which has been decided, also do emphasize on the regional cooperation also. So to start with, the major issues are the equal access. The equal access, assuring access of education to all, and also the equity involved in it. It still remains a major issue in South Asia. And the second one is the excellence. Trying to find out excellence in our both in school and higher education. So that still remains a challenge. And even after providing a significant access and excellence, the learning outcomes remain a major factor. Are our students really learning? So that remains a major issue. And the next point is the employability. So the general allegation is like, we are more like an education examination system. We just give degrees. We do, like the students are not getting the sort of the competence. So they are not employable. And also our institutions, very few institutions are globally ranked. So these are all the major challenges which are being faced in the South Asia. So now what are the things which you need to really concentrate, especially when we look at the actions really required to achieve the goals of SDG 4. The number one is, as the members agreed, is access to all. Still remains a basic and the most important challenge which we need to really focus on, especially in the marginalized section, women and disabled. We do strongly believe that focusing on disabled and women is the most important thing to really improve the society also. The second one is the skills in education, the TVET, the technical and vocational education training is the most ignored area in the education system. Without that, the education we are providing remains irrelevant. To make it more relevant, we need to look at the market demands also, and we need to bring in employability in the education. For that, the TVET sector and the linkage with the industry, importance on apprenticeship and internships, so these are considered as very important. The third important point is like now we are in a scenario where the education is expected to be more learner centric. So the education is expected to be more learner centric, where we expect the teachers to be more accountable. So for that it is important to train the teachers. So the teachers training is considered as a very important, but unfortunately it's a very ignored area both in school education and also in higher education sector. The fourth important point we do feel strongly is invest in technology. As I just mentioned, the equal access and excellence, the two important challenges in the South Asian context. So they are such challenges which are having competing demands on the meager resources. But fortunately, now for us, technology is coming as a big leveler to achieve, to find a fine balance between these two, equal access and excellence. So to tell some examples like, the digital education, for example, having smart classrooms in the schools, is it really going to help? The scientific evidence says multi-sensory approach will definitely help in improving the learning outcomes. So what we are saying is not to replace the teachers, but to have a blended learning. So in that way, the learning outcomes will definitely be better. The technology can be used in such a way. The second example is, Indian example I would like to say, that is a SWAYAM IT platform which provides MOOCs online courses, massive open online courses. So this helps in bridging the gap between the rural and urban areas or the neglected areas also. So what we are talking is like basically providing online courses from the best teachers through technology even to the remotest corners of our country or the world. So for example, in India, we are already running more than 1500 courses through this MOOCs courses through this platform, and we have allowed already credit transfer for those students who are taking up these MOOCs courses through SWAYAM platform up to 20%. And also the recent online guidelines which has come up, online education guidelines. So that also helps in establishing institutes which to provide complete virtual degrees also. So this I believe strongly, like, because we can't really trust only on the brick and mortar model alone, because financing in education is a major issue. So we need to really look at the digital way of reaching out to the people, making access to the quality education to all. The fifth issue is the international collaboration, especially the South Asian countries should have a strong regional cooperation in at least in few areas. The one important area is, again, I would like to repeat, the ICT in education. So ICT, like the technology does not have any borders. So like for example, I was mentioning about the SWAYAM platform, which can be really used to, be used by the neighboring countries also. For example, we are already working on a MOU with Afghanistan. So they would like to use, so they don't have the IT platform, so they would like to use our platform to host their contents. So we are very much okay with that. Similarly, sharing our e-libraries. So this also we look at in a significant way to have a collaboration with the neighboring countries. The second one is the regional mobility of students. So when we talk of internationalization of students, so the South Asian condition is pathetic, to say the least. And to provide some basic data about India, India is in number 3 position when it comes as a source country. Like most students are, it's in the 3rd position where the maximum students are going out abroad to study. But when it comes as an educational destination, we are in a 26th position. So already our country has started taking some initiatives like Study in India, so where we will be branding India as educational destination and also having a centralized admission portal. Again, technology is being used, and also some debottlenecking some regulatory issues and all. So this internationalization we need to really look at in a big way, and South Asian countries maybe we need to collaborate in a more significant manner so that our students will have a quality education. So connected with this is the network of universities. Like now the BRICS has got a network of universities, and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization has got network of universities. Sorry. The ASEAN India network of universities also is coming up. So similarly, this network of universities amongst the regional groups will definitely help in a big way in providing quality education. Like a student can have 2-3 semesters in one country in an institute, and he can go to some other institute in another country to pursue his further, few semesters. So for this, the mutual recognition of qualifications amongst the, bilaterally amongst different countries is also important. I have only 2 more points. So the next point is the research also. The members do feel like the countries should collaborate strongly in research also, both in school and higher education. And India definitely wants to have a proactive role in regional monitoring of achievements being made in SDG 4 goals, especially for the regional area. So India definitely would like to have a leadership role in this. And the 5th important point which has been realized is the evidence-based policy making is very important in education also. So whatever we have been doing is not really a typical evidence-based policy making. So we should rely more on facts and evidence to make policies, so that these policies will really address the ground realities. So these are some of the issues we discussed, and these are the recommendations we have come up. Thank you.
Thank you for a very comprehensive presentation. I've been warned that I have to be more careful with the time management, and my job is really not to, every paper to be contextualized, but to maintain the time. But I just thought, Madam Chair, I just bring one fact. When I mentioned that the South Asia shows higher inequality in education and health compared to middle-level countries and the developed countries. But in case of India, there is a study by IGIDR, Indira Gandhi Institute for Development Research, which shows that in India, educational inequality is much sharper than even the health inequality. So this is something, and also there is a study by Anirudh Krishna, which shows the point that Mr. Sarvana Kumar was mentioning, that rural-urban inequality is so sharp that if somebody had his or her entire education in the rural areas, the probability that person would get into IIT, IIM, or any of the modern institutions is almost zero, independent of caste, religion, or anything. So rural-urban divide is another important issue. I would like to invite the next panelist, His Excellency Professor Bishwambar Priya Kural. Unfortunately, he has regretted, he thought that it should be presented by somebody else. You are depriving us, His Excellency. Huh? Okay. So, okay. So, accepting your idea of efficiency, I am inviting Ms. Menu Vadera. She is the founder of Saka Consulting Wings. Please take your time. I have to be a little more careful about the timing. 5 minutes should be all right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fine.
Thank you, ma'am.